Somebody offered him reportedly 500 million euros a year to play soccer. That is not a typo. 500 million euros, every 12 months, for 3 years. The largest contract offer in the documented history of professional sport. He turned it down. He chose a team that had never won a single trophy, in a league that most of the world had never watched, in a city better known for its nightclubs than its football. This is not a story about loyalty, or passion, or a love of Miami sunsets. This is a story about what was actually in the contract. In June of 2022, Major League Soccer made a bet. The league signed a 10-year exclusive broadcasting deal with Apple TV. Minimum value, $2.5 billion, every game, every match, every Leagues Cup knockout stage, all of it behind a paywall. The logic was simple. Traditional TV rights were flattening. Streaming was the future. If MLS could build a direct subscriber base, it would control its own revenue and break free from the declining cable bundle. One problem. Nobody was paying $15 a month to watch MLS. The league had solid attendance, a few passionate fan bases, a handful of designated international stars on final contracts. It was not, by any credible global metric, a must-watch product. Apple needed subscribers. MLS needed Apple to succeed. Both needed a reason for someone in suburban New Jersey to open their phone and enter a credit card number. Meanwhile, David Beckham had spent about 15 years sitting on a $25 million option to launch an MLS expansion franchise. He'd done exactly that in 2018. The club was called Inter Miami. It played in Fort Lauderdale. It had won nothing. It was sitting near the bottom of the Eastern Conference. And in Turin and Paris and Qatar and everywhere else on Earth, the conversation about the greatest football player who had ever lived was starting to shift. Lionel Messi was 35 years old. He had just won the World Cup. For the first time, people were asking, not what he would do next, but where he would do it. The answer was coming. It just wasn't the one anyone expected. Messi left Barcelona in August of 2021. Not because he wanted to, because Barcelona couldn't afford him. The club had accumulated debts of over €1 billion. La Liga's financial fair play system, which caps how much clubs can spend based on revenue, meant that even after agreeing to a 50% pay cut, Messi could not be registered. He gave a farewell press conference where he cried. The clip ran everywhere. He went to Paris Saint-Germain. 2 years. Won the French league, as PSG does. Disappeared into a system that didn't suit him. Collected his salary. In November 2022, on a different continent, he finally won the World Cup. In January 2023, he called Xavi Hernandez, Barcelona's coach, and told him he wanted to come home. By April, a 2-year contract had nearly been finalized. La Liga's salary cap rules had provisionally approved the operation. Then it fell apart. Barcelona would have needed to sell multiple players to meet the cap thresholds. Messi told Xavi he wasn't coming back if that was the cost. Barcelona president Joan Laporta would later say Messi had rejected the return. Messi's camp maintained the financial rules made it impossible regardless. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. What was not in the middle was what happened next. Saudi Arabia's Al-Hilal football club, backed by the same public investment fund that had purchased Newcastle United, extended an offer, reportedly around 400 to 500 million euros per year. 3 years. A total package in the range of 1.5 billion euros, the largest sports contract the world had ever seen. Cristiano Ronaldo had gone to Saudi Arabia 6 months earlier for a reported 200 million euros a year. Al-Hilal was offering Messi more than twice that. And here is where the story gets interesting. The MLS offer from Inter Miami was structured completely differently. The base salary, roughly $20 million a year, guaranteed. The actual smallest component of the deal. Layered on top, a cut of Apple TV's MLS Season Pass subscription revenue. Specifically, revenue tied to new subscribers driven by Messi's signing. A share of Adidas merchandise sales from his presence in the league, and, the part almost nobody reported, an option to purchase a minority ownership stake in Inter Miami after his retirement, at a price fixed at the time of signing. The franchise was then worth approximately $585 million. Jorge Mas, the club's lead business owner, confirmed Inter Miami was paying Messi around $70 to $80 million a season, all in. 1/7 of the Saudi offer. But the Saudi offer was just salary. When it ended, it ended. The Miami deal had Apple revenue, Adidas revenue, and equity in a franchise that was about to be worth a great deal more than $585 million. There was one more thing. Antonella Ricuzzo, Messi's wife, did not want Europe. Their children were already settled into life in Miami. Jorge Messi, his father and agent, had watched Barcelona's finances collapse for 3 years. He did the math on the contracts. Messi chose Miami, tras. July 21st, 2023. DRV PNK Stadium, Fort Lauderdale. Lionel Messi makes his debut for Inter Miami in the League's Cup against Cruz Azul. Inter Miami are losing 1-0, 91st minute. Messi steps over the ball on the edge of the box. The free kick bends into the top right corner. Within 24 hours, Apple TV Plus had logged 110,000 new MLS Season Pass subscriptions. In a day. The league had been measuring subscriptions in thousands per week. Within a year, MLS Season Pass subscriptions had doubled. League-wide sponsorship revenue reached $587 million, up 15% year-on-year. Average attendance climbed 5% across the league. In August, Inter Miami won the League's Cup, their first trophy. Messi scored in the final. By January 2024, Forbes and Sportico had independently crossed Inter Miami's valuation through the billion-dollar threshold. The franchise had jumped from $585 million to just over $1 billion in approximately 6 months. David Beckham's $25 million option was now worth something north of $1 billion. The 2024 season had limits. In July 2024, on the pitch at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Argentina beat Colombia 1-0 to win the Copa America, Messi's third consecutive continental title as Argentina captain. In the final minutes, Messi rolled his ankle, ligament damage. He lifted the trophy with strapping on his leg. He missed the entire League's Cup defense. Inter Miami was eliminated in the second round without him. In October, the playoffs. Inter Miami entered as heavy favorites to win MLS Cup. They lost in the first round to Atlanta United. The Messi effect is real. It doesn't replace a squad. The Saudi money was bigger. Nobody disputes that. But the Saudi money was salary. A fixed sum, paid for services rendered, ending cleanly at contract's close. The Miami deal was structured like a term sheet. Revenue participation, brand upside, equity in a franchise that more than doubled in value before Messi scored his second goal. He didn't choose Miami over Saudi Arabia because he's virtuous. He chose it because the structure was better. Nobody read the footnotes.